So this is a video on how to fly the Ta-154, the two-engine German prop that I made kind of review on. Is shit though, not good at YouTube. So basically, this is just to help someone specifically. If you want me to do more videos like, oh, how do you fly such and such a plane, if I have it, I'll try to explain it. So the Ta-154 is a interceptor. That means it does have a pretty decent climb rate. You can climb at 15 degrees pretty well. The only issue is the engines overheat. I wouldn't say too fast, but it's definitely an issue. You want to watch the temperatures. So you can climb at 15, you can climb at 20, using WEP, the War Emergency Power. So the main downside with the Ta-154 is the guns. So if I go to the 30 millimeters, quite low velocity. Oh, yeah, so you can see. Well, I'm trying my best to show like the different. Actually, wait, there should be. There we go. So 20 mil. Am I doing this right? 20 mil, 30. Okay. So 20 mil and then 30. So I have my gun convergence set up to 500 meters. So the 30 mil, like the MK108s and the MG151s, hit roughly in the same area. So where'd the bombs go? Alright, whatever. So basically, like I said, you can climb pretty well. You get an air spawn, so you do start out pretty at a decent speed. But as you look at these engines already in the orange, and I've only been in the yellow for about like 3 seconds. So you can climb pretty well. Because it is an interceptor, you want to, well, a twin engine interceptor. You want to make sure you do not turn fight single engine aircraft. So let's say oh, I'll just restart the mission so I can actually shoot at the AI. Yeah. So because it is a twin engine interceptor, it does not have the worst turn rate. It's actually, I would say, comparable to a P-38 in terms of turning. But the P-38 also has way better flaps and stronger flaps. They can do takeoff flaps like way higher than even some single engine, fighters. So as you can see, extremely low speeds, and it turns like a bus because of the weight. Even though this is the Wooden Wonder, because I have the unpainted camo on. So I'm gonna climb up real quick. Yeah. So landing flaps are quite effective, especially at lower speeds. You can use these kind of effectively, but they rip off at relatively easily, speed-wise. So let's say you have. Never mind. I'm gonna have to climb a little bit. I'm trying my best. This is the first time I've actually had to make a video explaining how to fly something. Okay. So let's say you have a single-engine fighter in front of you. So what you want to do is definitely have speed. You don't want to be slow when engaging fighters. So let's say, oh, fighter right there, you would want to dive on them. Where'd he go? Right there. Yeah, so you'd want to dive on them, do a quick burst. Wait. Okay, quick burst, and then you'd either want to, climb back up because you want to boom and zoom. Dive down, shoot, climb back up. When you're climbing back up, do about 20 degrees. So you definitely climb with speed. let's say you miss the person you're shooting at, you pull up and you go, completely 90 degrees up, they have an easier time shooting at you. But if you go like 20 degrees, you're still climbing with some speed. This does have pretty good dive performance. Let's see if I can get it fast enough to show. Oh, burning the engines. Yeah, so like I said, the engines are definitely a little fragile when it comes to temperatures. Damage-wise, I mean, they're inlines, and they're inline V8s, so I mean, they're not as durable as the radials on like the FW190s. Yeah. So when you're diving with someone, you want to be, let's see, in feet, you want to be like at least 3,000 feet above them. In meters, I would say, I don't know, I'd say like 900 meters at least. Because if they're at a similar airspeed and you dive with very little room between you guys, then you're not going to get much of an advantage over them. So, excuse the frames. My computer dies when I record this. Yeah. So let's say, let's see. Yeah. So, like I said before, keep your gun convergence at about 500, maybe 600 if you think you'll get lucky enough. Let's see. So, out of a dive, didn't even dive from that far. I'm going pretty fast. The wings aren't fluttering yet. Oh. But as you can see, the rudder locks up very much. So, rolling is not an issue. It rolls like a 109. No, not 109. It rolls like a 190. When at, moderate speeds. Higher speed, it does compress a little bit, but it's not that much. You won't really notice it. A lot of the complaints I hear about the Ta-154 is definitely the guns. Yeah, the 30 mils are quite low velocity, but you also have those 20 millimeters. So if you overcorrect with the 20s, you'll hit with the 30s. It's kind of like a weird balance. The builds I use for the Ta-154. Oh wait, there you go. Yeah, so the build you want to use for the Ta-154, at least for what I use, is air targets on the 20 mils and universal on the 30 millimeter. The night tracers, that doesn't really do anything. That just makes the tracer dimmer, which you don't really want. Let's see. So this is the stat card. So like effective altitude in feet, and then I'll switch it to meters in case you don't speak bald eagles per football field. Altitude meters. This. Okay, that should work. And then the stat card in metric. So, as a pretty good burst mast, it's not very. This is not a plane you want to bring to ground RB, because the 30 millimeters only pen, I think, 13 millimeters of armor. Yeah, 13 because of the incendiary shell. The air targets, I mean, yeah, you do have universal and armored, but that's not doing much. So you want to use universal for 30 mils, air targets for the 20s, or if you're having trouble aiming, the 20 millimeter, use the universal. So you have not more trace. Well, technically it is more tracers, but you see a tracer more often than with the air targets. The air targets gives most consistent damage because it has more of the mining and shots shell. Let's see. You could use tracers. Doesn't do as much damage. I would really only say use stealth for the 30 mils if you really only want to use, if you can only really aim the 20 millimeter, and vice versa. If you're Aim is great with the 20 mils, but you can't aim the 30s. I would put stealth on here. Or you could do what I do, just, mix it up a little bit. So, I know this probably won't be very helpful, but like I said before, boom and zoom with this. You can get away with a little bit of turn fighting if you're going against twin engines or attackers, but that's about all you'll be able to do. The climb rate's pretty good. It performs pretty well at higher altitudes. Lower altitudes, it's pretty fast. So that's really all I got.